A few weeks ago, Hanju put out a podcast episode called Golf Parenting Done Right. And in that one, he mentions a Jonathan who had a really rough time with golf. And that person is me, John. So today I want to do a segment that is a little bit different. So bear with us here this week. But hopefully it'll be impactful, healing. Maybe it'll get you to consider getting back out on the course. And it doesn't have to be golf specific. This could be like anything related to performance, as you'll see. And so with that, let's get into it. But hey, if this is your first time, like I said, my name is John. This is Better Golf Academy, where we try to help you lower your scores without changing a single thing about your swing. And so that could be, mental game strategies, course management, and just strategy in general. It could be a motivational story, something inspirational. And so that's kind of what I hope to do this week. So we're going to put 3 new arrows in your quiver, or bullets in your revolver, or tools in your back pocket, however you like to think of it. And the first one is to separate. The second one is to accept. And the third one is to reframe. So that's SAR, separate, accept, reframe. Let's get into separate. So if you had a parent like in Hanju's story in the episode where they were just standing over you at the range and just kind of very critical of your performance, chances are you learn to internalize that and relate your performance with your identity or your value. And so the first step to kind of heal from that trauma is to separate yourself from your performance. You are not your performance, right? If you make a bogey, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. That sounds silly when I say it out loud like that, but that's what I internalized in my body. Like whenever I make a bogey now, I have to learn to tell myself like, I'm not a bad person. I don't suck. I just missed a 6-foot putt for par. Like that's very different, right? Sounds ridiculous, but it's what my body knows, right? Like as soon as my brain says, "Oh, that was a +1 on this hole," like I get this response, right? Like this like ugh, like oh, right? And the first step to healing is to realize like a bogey is a score on a scorecard. And by the way, this is a round that I'm just playing to have a good time. So who really cares? Like it has no bearing on who I am as a person. Now, with that said, your attitude and your work ethic does kind of define who you are and your value as a person, right? And so if you make a bogey and you kind of respond like, oh man, like, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't even have to say it. You kind of know what I'm getting at. Then that kind of does define you as a person. It does define your value and who you think you are as a person, right? And so how do we get from like bogey, less than ideal response? Look who it is. It's Hanju. Where were we? Yeah, so just think about it. If every time you get a bogey or hit a bad shot, if your body is internalizing like, oh, as a human being, or I'm not good, like it's no wonder that I stopped playing the game. And so learning to disassociate that has just been a really soul feeding thing for me. Using a crooked stick to hit a plastic rubber piece of rubber into a hole that is 500 yards away, and everything that it takes to do that has been really life-giving. The fact that I can do it for my own enjoyment on my terms, play the way I want to, express myself in the way I want to, put improvements and just approach things without having anybody tell me how to do it, that's been really freeing. On the golf course with fresh air, sun shining on my skin in the Pacific Northwest region, smelling the grass. Did I say that already? Taking time outside, not listening to a podcast, that's been really mentally freeing, self-care. Okay, so before we move on to the second step, a quick little exercise, something that I did in my therapy and counseling, super simple, but super impactful. It's basically to write or even think about. Writing is more powerful because it creates more stickiness, but basically saying my performance is not my worth, right? Maybe it's as simple as that for you. I don't know, you fill in the blank, right? My blank is not my blank, right? It could also be like my work is not my parent, or what X person thinks of me is not who I am, right? Some version of that. And just really think about that and internalize that. I think is a great first step. All right, moving on to the second thing, accept. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but you can't change the past. You can only change how you react to it and how you treat situations going forward. And so, if this thing happened to you as a kid, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for me. But let's not live in that cycle. Let's move on. There's a lot of forgiveness of self to be had there. Uh, for some reason, the picture of Wyndham Clark is popping into my head. Both for this and the previous one, right? It's just like performance is not who you are, does not define who you are. If this happened to you when you were a kid,
it's not your fault.
It wasn't a fair fight to begin with. So again, I'm sorry that happened to you. Let's address what happened. We can't change it. Let's be gentle on ourselves. Spend as much time as we can in this almost mourning, right? Like you're mourning the fact that you didn't have a past that maybe you would have liked, right? Let's mourn that. Let's treat that let's treat that ideal childhood or whatever, that ideal upbringing, as something that we never had, and that's sad, right? It's something that that ideal childhood is a loss, right? We never had that. Like that's not fair. The takeaway here, the action item here, is to mourn the loss, right? Be gentle on yourself. Take all the time you need. Like for me, I pretty much stopped playing golf when I entered college. So when I was 18, I stopped playing. And in the last 20 years, I've only played a few times. It's only been the last couple of years where my brother-in-law and my sister started inviting me out to the golf course. It took 20 years for me to kind of go through that, to heal, to accept all this stuff. And even 2 years ago when I started playing more regularly, when I would go out, I would compare like my performance to my high school performance, and if it wasn't up to that standard, it was just like, why am I doing this? This is dumb. And I only realized more recently, that I'm just out there to enjoy the camaraderie, people I'm with, and just to have a time away from the busy daily grind. But the whole point of it is to go there to enjoy something with people that I enjoy spending time with, to come back and then be a better father, husband, all the things. The point of taking my mind off isn't to like keep going to the golf course and escaping real life, because that's kind of counterproductive, counterintuitive, at least for me in this stage of life, but to come back stronger. So golf has been really powerful for me in that perspective. So, take the time you need, be gentle on yourself, heal up, mourn the loss of all that ideal childhood that you had in your mind. I'm sorry, I'm sorry for myself that I didn't have that. And I'm able to forgive myself for everything that happened and forgive the people around me for what happened. All right, so the last step here is to reframe. It's basically to reframe what the sport means to you today, right? Back in high school, for me, the sport meant almost like survival. Like I had to perform, otherwise I wasn't worthy of living. Sorry, I have to laugh, otherwise I would cry. But nowadays, the sport is enjoyment. It's having fun. It's reclaiming what's mine, which is the way I approach things, the way I solve problems, the way I get the ball from A to B. Like that's my freedom. I get to decide how the game is played for me. I get to decide which set of irons I get, what driver to hit, how to putt, and that's really freeing. Not only that, now that I have kids, it's up to me to decide how I approach not only the game, but instruction and guiding and mentoring with him, right? Like I can't change the past, but I can change how I relate with my son going forward, whether that's with sports or outside of sports. But not only that, just to change the time horizon, because I've definitely taken the 9-year-old out on the course, and it's, he's kind of bored after 10 minutes. He's like, can we go home, or can we get another bucket, and there's another $20. So it's redefining like the time period as well. The fact that I don't really care if he goes into junior golf or not. I mean, if he wants to, that's awesome. I'll support him 100%. But it's more of like a 30-year time horizon where I would love it if in 20, 30 years, Zach came back and was like, hey, like what happened to the times when we used to go out on the course? Like, can we do that again? Can we go can we go play 9 holes? Like, let's go, It's great that some parents are able to navigate like that fun and skills improving thing, right? Like it's like, are you in it for the fun, or are you in it to get better and become really good at something? Like I am glad some parents and some kids figure it out, like they're able to get good and maintain a great relationship and have fun while doing it. Like I hope that I can do that, and I'm, learning, and I know that it's not 100% on me to do that. For me anyways, it's all about the bond, right? The bond that I have with my child. Like if this avenue golf is strengthening then that's awesome. And how I'm able to tell that is if my kid wants to spend more time with me, right? If they're like, hey dad, can we do this? Hey, like that's my test. And it's also strengthening the bond with myself, right? Like, am I loving myself more? Am I taking care of myself? Sure, am I playing golf? And yeah, it'd be great if my scores are dropping, but that's not the ultimate thing, right? The ultimate thing is like, am I coming back home and being the best person I could be at home? So that's today's video. I hope that these 3 little steps are able to help you to get from trauma to recovery. Of course, I'm not a professional, there's a lot of help out there. If you guys need help, feel free to reach out to us and we'll give you some good resources that we've run across. Go to bettergolfacademy.com/hello, and we'll be happy to put you in touch with people who can help. Also, I know that this may have been a triggering one, a heavy one, but I love it because lately I've been able to apply some of these things and have been able to just connect with others when I'm open and vulnerable. You'll be surprised at how much you can connect with others. But to know that performance doesn't define who I am, doesn't give me value or worth, to know that my worth is not my performance, the fact that I can change my generational trajectory in how I relate with my son, like that's awesome. And it makes me play better golf too, right? Because it takes pressure off. Like it's not about my worth anymore. It's about doing the steps necessary to hit the best shot possible, which, you should watch the pre-shot routine video. There's so much beauty and depth in the game, and knowing that, ultimately I can't control the result. And that's just a beautiful thing. I'm going to read a quote here by an Olympic champion, Bob Richards. It goes like this: God must love ordinary people because he made so many of us, yet every single day in every walk of life, ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things. The truth is, out of 100 of you who see this video, maybe less than 1% will actually have a chance of making it to the PGA. And so there are 99+% of us who won't do that. And that doesn't mean that we are less than or are worth less, but we can still accomplish great things. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop it in the comments section down below. Thank you so much for watching. And would you give this video a like? It would really help the algorithm if somebody needs some inspiration or encouragement in their golf game, or even just parenting. Hopefully this transcended golf. Throughout this video, I've dropped links in the cards up here. I'll also drop some relevant links to videos I refer to in this one. But thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Be awesome, and bye for now.